Hello and welcome to today's live stream. Today it's just this guy, Rick, hanging out with you solo. I had a special, amazing, wonderful guest planned, but unfortunately he's sick, so I don't know if I should tell you who that was because you might be super disappointed. Anyway, it was Grant. Grant Abbott was going to join us, but he's sick today, so he said, you know what, Rick, you've got it solo. I believe in you. Go for it. You can do it on your own. He didn't say any of that, actually. He just said, I need to sleep. So those of you watching live, thanks for joining me. I'll need to lean on you to ask some great questions and to give some insightful comments and to point out if anything is broken. Normally, my good buddy Tim is here, but he's been let out of his environment to roam around in the forest and to forage for berries for a short amount of time. So hopefully that goes well for him with his roaming and foraging to get in touch with nature, I guess, is what he's doing out there, snuffling through the dirt to find some, what are those really rare mushrooms you find? Is it sorrels? No. Anyway, to find those rare mushrooms. Sorry to imply that anything inappropriate. Now that I think about it, it's probably not a nice thing to say about Tim when he's not here to defend himself and have a good chuckle about it. So anyway, we're going to talk about some game design. I'm going to pick one game that I've been wanting to look at forever and have a look at it and see what all the hype is about. In particular, because it has a very distinctive visual style and it has a very distinctive gameplay mechanic. And so for those of you watching live, I'm going to rely upon you to give me lots of insight and wisdom as to why it's awesome. I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to dig into the game design deep dive of it and also the visuals of it in particular. Truffles. Thank you, Jacques, for letting me know truffles was what Tim is out there searching for. Truffles and berries. Maybe he's going to climb some trees and find some pine cones as well. So, Tim, if you're watching, hopefully your foraging's going well out there in the forest. Sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? A little bit of forest snuffling, shuffling. He's in Florida. I don't know how many forests there are in Florida, but anywho. Yeah, and as for Grant, if you're watching, I hope you're feeling better. Although I hope you're sleeping and not watching. Okay, so what is the game that I speaketh of? The game I speaketh of is Super Hot. So let me see if I can show you what's going on there. I'm going to put that side and that this side. So I'm going to look over there and push one of these buttons here in terms of share screen. And that one there, share that screen. Yep, just grab all this nonsense off my hard drive. Put over there somewhere. Okay, so Super Hot is the game I'm going to be having a look at. And why am I choosing this game? Well, first of all, because I've not played it and I'm really curious as to what it's all about and the hype. I watched some stuff a while ago. It's not a brand new game. It's been around for quite some time. And someone in the comments here saying it's because it's a weird game. Let me just get the comments up on the screen for a moment. So actually, that's beyond my technical capabilities. We'll do that later on. It is a weird game, but it did really well, and I think it's very indie, and it's the sort of thing that you guys can aspire to emulate. So let's kick it off and see what it's all about. I can still see my chat over here. I might be a little bit slow getting to it, but let's see. We'll click on play. Already it's got a really cool distinctive style. I'm going to unwindows it because that broke it a second ago. Screen 1 or 2. It seems to not care when I say screen 2. Like, be on that monitor, please. Oh, well. And of course, this time it is on the monitor, so Rick has gone and made a bit of a mess of things here. Just give me a second. 1 second. Sorry. Unshare my screen for a moment. This is what happens when you do these things solo, my friends. Over that side. Now, back over there. Back over here. And now I believe I can make it all work. Up we go. Okay. And I'm still back to the wrong screen again, aren't I? And I just need to stop screen sharing. Start screen sharing again. How are you liking the stream of consciousness here? It's always fun and games. You know what? I don't think we've ever had a live stream where the tech has just been perfect. If anyone can remember any said tech live stream, please let me know. And where's the game? There it is. Okay, whew, finally. Now, do you guys want to have crazy looking Rick in the side and the game big, or do you want to have the game the full thing? These are my options here. If you can see what's going on, I can have me down the bottom, me over to the side, me picture in picture. Maybe we'll do that one. Okay. Interactive. Now let's see, get that one up here. Okay, down the bottom. Let me know if I get in the way of the game. Hopefully I don't. Down the bottom corner there. Hello to everyone joining us. So the first thing I notice is this is a really awesome menu screen. it's got this whole executable. And if you like me, I'm always hesitant to click on executables because like, oh, what's in there? But read me text, replays, quit. Awesome. So it's got a distinct style, and I'm going to be really um, focusing on the visuals for this conversation and a little bit of the game mechanics as well. But the visuals. So the first thing is consistency and some sort of something like some theme, and this has a very old school technology theme. It's got the monitor warpedness. So I'm going to run the superhot.exe, a little bit of the static lines going on. Okay, and the first thing I notice, and just for clarity, I've never played this game. I've never looked at it. All I've watched is some videos, obviously. So I know there's a little bit of a slowdown mechanic. I can see, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little bit of movement going on. Oh, how's my screen? Everything's locked up. Okay, this might be a big dud if we can't actually see any movement. I didn't do a tech test to see if you can see the... Oh, my frame rate. Is my frame rate looking amazingly awful to everyone? Maybe the tech I'm using today is not going to like it. But we can do a little bit of just analyzing the game for the visuals without the gameplay itself. So when I move, everything's moving really slowly. Sorry, when I just stand still, but it's telling me to move. And when I move, the thing breaks. Time moves only when you move. So I have a feeling that this is not streaming very well. Let me know if you're getting 1 frame per second as I'm doing. Frame rate looks great. Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's just not showing me on my computer. So let me know. So as I move around, I can see that other characters move. And when I stop, they stop as well. When I line things up and I'm going to shoot that person, looks like my bullet isn't really moving. So the whole thing is time only moves when you move. So I've shot and then shoot again. Come on. Oh, reload. Hop out of the way of the bullet. It seems, oops, super. Oh, gee. Oh, hot. Wow, super hot. Oh, okay. I get it. Yep, got it. Okay, I get the message. What do I need to do? Left mouse button to edit the replay. Oh, okay. So that was pretty cool. Gun. Pick up weapons. Okay. Get myself a weapon there. So, okay, let's talk for a moment about the visual style, because that's what we're here. I was hoping Grant would join us today, but unfortunately Grant is ill at the moment. Talk about the visual style. You can see the graphics. The car here is pretty simple, pretty basic. It's the sort of thing that all of us, I think, after a little bit of training, going through some of Grant's courses, we could model this. Maybe not quite as crisp, but if you have a look around, we're not expecting, I think, the graphics to be, spectacular. We could all, I think, model that air conditioning unit, and it looks like it's the same air conditioning unit throughout. This is just a pole. These are buildings, are pretty simple, some wires and cables. So from a visual point of view, this is not really difficult artwork to create. We could all create this artwork, but there's a bit of innovation in the color and the texture. You can see that we've got a little bit of a, I don't know how to describe that texture, but it's a little bit textured, but it's just white. You don't have to worry about putting all the colors in. That's saving yourself a lot of time. So I love the innovation from that point of view is, you know what? I don't want to do texturing for hours and hours and hours because this is not what I'm good at. You know what? I'm just going to make it all white. And then to give this real amazing visual pop, we've got the characters. They also, just looking at them now, they've got one color on them. It's just red. Oh, they're coming up to punch me, so I better do a bit of shooting. So they're red, but again, they've got some sort of, clever shader or rendering going on in the characters, and then they shatter. So obviously you need to find yourself something visually interesting, not just, white world and red characters. And the visual interesting aspect here, I think, is they shatter. It looks like they've made out of glass. So it was a setup. Okay. And then see all these little bits of glass particles? And they have a real punch because we've got this white world and then, blood, I guess, but it's actually glass-looking particles just shattering everywhere. So just reading our comments here, see if there's anything. Yep. So looks like it's coming through a bit smoother now. So from a visual point of view, we don't have to go and have things be super detailed, super, tons of textures, amazing. Think of a little bit of cleverness, innovation. And I'd encourage you to borrow this idea. I have one color for the entire world and another color for my enemies. It doesn't have to be white with red. White with red pops really well. I think looks really nice. But it could be something else. It could be the other way around. It could be all kind of dark, and then you have these light things pop out above it. And then, oh, I missed him. Okay, well, that's kind of cool. So I'll talk about the game mechanic a little bit. What? Oh no, oh, I died. Okay. The game mechanic of Rick being awful at playing games. Grab the gun. Okay, I grab the gun. Cool, grab the gun. And then run around and move. Shoot that guy. Can I shoot straight away? So there's a little bit of coolness in, you can see I have to lead the character as the character's running across the screen. I can't shoot directly at him because the bullet won't reach there in time. But if I shoot there, when I can shoot again, it takes a while to reload. Well, not reload, sorry, but shoot the next bullet. It was a setup. Okay, so the whole leading aspect. So the way I think the developers would have created this is they would have got into their engine of choice. We'll say it's Unity or Unreal, and they're like, you know what? What would be cool is time only moves when you move, like that kind of brainstorming. Okay, what happens? A time mechanic would be cool, slowing down, speeding up. So start off by getting that slowing down and speeding up, and then you can make a really basic, simple prototype. Just here's a cube, there's another cube, and I can shoot, and we cover that in a few of our courses to do the basic first-person shooter type stuff, and then you can just figure out the tech for having things move when you move, like the slow down, speed up stuff, and then play around with it, see if it's cool. You're like, yeah, that's really cool. That alone is not going to have your game stand out and be awesome um, and super popular. You need to then get that visual style. You need to have some sort of hook. You need to have something that when you show a video, the 5-second GIF of it, or GIF of it, GIF, the 5-second GIF, people look at it and say, whoa, that looks cool and interesting and different. And so then it just becomes content. Like here, do I have a gun? Am I able to shoot? I don't think I can shoot here. Maybe I run away. Nope. Okay, so I'm just going to run down this corridor. Oh, okay, and I die, of course. I also really like how obvious this game is. No big tutorial. No, oh, there's a gun on the ground. It's just letting me figure it out. And, everyone's played a first-person shooter. So, move the mouse and move your left, right, WASD to move. So when I do that, everything moves. It's just explained to me instantly. And that, I think, is the holy grail of tutorials, where the player already knows how to move because it's familiar. And then by moving, the game explains itself. So I think this is another reason that this game did very well. Pick up the gun, is because it's obvious what to do. It's also looking quite unforgiving. So if I get shot once, boom, game over, which I think is cool. A little bit roguelike in that regard. I guess it says super hot at the end of every level, doesn't it? And then hand over control. Okay, hand over control again. So it looks like the sun's coming in my window now and hitting me on the head. Apologies for that. How's the quality of the frame rate at the moment? It looks really laggy on my computer, but just checking to see. Are you guys seeing the frame rate okay-ish? Oh. Ah, nailed that. Nailed me. Okay. You missed. Throw your gun right. Oh, because throwing your gun is quicker than shooting. Wow, that is interesting. I'll grab that gun. Now running around. Oh, I haven't done a lot of this playing a game and talking at the same time. So thanks for your patience while I do this. Now this guy's without a gun running at me. Shoot him. Explode. Decision point here. That bullet looks like it's missing me. I think it's probably... Oh, what happened there? I clicked on that too quick. Oh, out of bullets. Oh, no. Oh, no. Missed him. Shoot that guy. It's so cool. It's difficult as well. You'd think it'd be really easy when the guys aren't moving and you've just got all the time in the world. But I think you can add the challenge by having lots of bullets being shot around. And the one shot, one hit, one kill, I think is an important part of this. Just reading a comment. It's the first time I've seen Rick actually play a game. It's really cool. Oh, thank you for that. Left mouse button to stun enemies in melee range. Boom. Okay. Interesting shooting. Okay, once again, back to the visual design of this. So, really simple. Oh, that was cool, having them blink into existence. Really basic, but you've got now one element that's been added in on top of that. You've got this bloom light effect, which again, that's something simple that we can do. We can hop into, for example, Unity, get some, is it bloom? Glare? No, oh, what's the word? It's not bloom. It is, oh, tip of my tongue. Someone help me out here. What is it when you put the, oh, this is such an obvious word. If I was in the engine, I'd just go click, click, and find it. Where you have the texture that is what's the glowy texture called? Oh my goodness, this is terrible. It's also terrible that I'm getting a lot of sun on my face here at the moment, but not to worry. Okay, I wish there wasn't a delay between me saying something and then you guys being able to comment on it and answer, but we've got a little bit of that delay happening. Not glow. Thanks, Peter, for giving me the first shot on that. It's not blue. Emission. Oh, avocado fire for the win. That's why we have you around, avocado fire. So clever on these things. So emission. So you can get in there and put a little bit of emission, and that's quite interesting. Like the emission going on this guy's big forehead at the moment. And then a little bit of animation. Oh, there's a bullet. Jeez, whoops. Okay, let's talk Rick more dodgy the bullets. Oh, crap. Oh, no. Oh, no. Punch him. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is all coming together now. The couple of mechanics that I've been taught by the game, throwing, punching, shooting, running out of ammo, dodging. It's all, yeah, I have bloom effect on myself. Look at this emission. This is emission right here on this guy's forehead. But what I was trying to say, as I was also trying to have fights with these clowns, oops, bam, is it's really simple to get. Crap. Okay, wait. Okay, let me punch these guys and I'll make my amazingly insightful point. Unless they keep beating me. Maybe I'm made of glass as well. It sounds like that each time I... Can I please pick up that gun? Okay, get the gun. Okay, there we go. Try again. Why am I trying again? Some of those words come and go a little bit too quickly, I find. Ay, oi, oi. That's a bit silly. Okay. Throw, no... What did that say? Oh, boy, I'm terrible at this game. This is why I don't play games on streams. First of all, because I get light all over my head. And second of all, because I'm quite bad at them. Okay, here we go. Got the gun. Tim Ruswick would be horrified looking down from his pine tree as he's foraging his pine cones. So the point I've been wanting to make for the last 2 minutes is it's pretty easy once again to get an object. Look at this train. It's a big old cube with some indents on it. But again, it fits with the rest of the world. It's got a nice texture. So this game is all about putting a nice, interesting texture on your object, and then that's what's making it cool. And then just animate it. It's just like sliding through the world. We can all do that level of animation, just sliding through the world, not a problem. So this is what I wanted to put out. Like this chop chop. I don't know what that means. Oh. Whoop. Did I just shoot some glass here? Empty magazine. Oh, I'm so bad at this game. Okay, I'll focus on the game a little just to get past this bit. Boom. Oh, boy. Okay, maybe not. Here we go. We'll punch him in. Throw, no ammo. Okay, it's showing me no ammo. Oh, I pushed him in front of the train. I hadn't seen that so far. That's cool. Okay, punch, punch. Where's the gun? There it is. Okay, come down over here. So, chop, chop. Maybe chop, chop means hurry up. Does that mean that same thing from where you guys are all from? Chop, chop. For me, if I said to someone, hey, chop, chop, it would mean hurry up. But what I'm going to point out, this is simple modeling and simple texturing. There is a little bit more detail to the texturing. You see that it's got this line going on here. A little bit of glass. You can get in and play around with some of these different materials. Glass that shatters, awesome. Shattering in slow motion. So this slow motion effect is really cool. There's a lot of polish in this, but simple polish is what I'm getting at with this whole style. It's not going to art school for 5 years to be able to create what we're looking at here. It's simple with some polish and some detail and some, um, a little bit of love and care. This emission that we now know that's what it's called, like burp, burp, emission on the lights, a little bit of movement of the train, this cool kind of glass that shattered that's now not there anymore. I don't know what this pipe thing is coming out of the garbage bin. Oh, out of ammo. Okay, throw the gun. Smash. Pick up that guy's gun. Okay, let's see if we can actually get through this level. Shoot that guy. Okay, finish the level. Everyone out there is saying hallelujah, thank goodness. So is there anything I've missed about this game as you guys have been watching me play through? Anything you've noticed from a visual design point of view? Oh, we're on the same level. Oh. My computer's been crashing a little bit lately, so when the screen went black, I thought, oh no, it's happened again. Okay, this... okay, this just got weird. What's going on here? Okay, that kind of effect looked a little bit more advanced. And then back to the screen. Does that mean I won? I lost? Incoming message. Press enter to reply. And then back to this theme of where some sort of computer world. Guru chat. What did you think? Good. Oh, I went to type good and it automatically types the stuff. That's really cool. I'm just hitting any old keys. Interesting idea. Not sure what I'm supposed to be doing though. I think I was in a factory, then an alley, then a subway. Oh yeah, that's really cool. Because that's matching exactly what I've been saying. What am I doing? Where am I? Who am I? Everyone gets something different. It's crazy. And then this is me typing at the moment. That's one word for it. Wait. Type. Some bad glitches at the end. Unauthorized something something. Then I got kicked out. Just going to quickly change my lighting here. And I'm back after making a mess of everything. Here he is. That's what happens when you do these things solo. New file seems to crash less. Oh, okay. So it's some sort of computer programming sort of thing. So I really love how, and just watching the comments here, what you're saying, now the story starts to come in. This is something that I talk about all the time is if when I first start your game, I don't have any relationship with the characters, with the world, with what I'm up to. If you hit me with a whole bunch of story at the start, I don't care yet. I'm not interested. I want to get in there and just play the game and understand and bang, and just get shot up a few times. So now I'm curious. I'm like, well, I've been running around. Who are these red glass guys? Why am I in this world? What is going on? Why do I play this game so badly? These are all the things that are going through my mind. So jump, that's a cool mechanic. What do I do here? Everyone, I don't have a gun. Maybe I right, left, right, left. Oh, I thought I got him that time. Emissive material with bloom, yes. Okay. Oh, maybe I need to run at him quicker. There we go. Kapowie, kaboom. I feel like Batman with the bam and then a shot, maybe unnecessarily so. Behind the post. How many bullets does this guy get? Shoot, I think I missed him. No, got him. Got him. Got him exactly where I wanted to. Okay. So that's cool. Whoa, whoa, right up my butt. Oh. Run for cover. Okay, plenty of posts. A little bit Matrix. Is it Matrix? What's the... Out of ammo. Whoop. I'm thinking of a movie where there's all those posts and they shatter and they go running through the middle. It might be Matrix. Sounds very... Neo isn't as terrible as I am at these things. Got him. Okay, I think I need to be more bold. Because the game goes slow, I think I should just kind of plod around. But I think some boldness is what's required here. Can I duck? No, I haven't been taught how to duck yet. And it looks like that doesn't matter anyway. They're just going to... Oh, very Matrix. Okay, so let's have one last look at the visual design here. Like I say, it's quite simple. Whoop. Oops. Let's looking. Imagine seeing that in real life. It's like, there he is, get him. And the guy's like, oh, you know what? That's an interesting thing you've got in the wall there. Oh, there's some nice wallpaper. And imagine if Neo was doing that. This part of the Matrix is quite interesting. Oh, you know what? jumping. It just showed me how to jump. It's just the game has taught me here's how you jump. So you know what? Maybe I just jump to get these guys instead of leads up. What leads up? Anyone catch that? Something leads up. Run, 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 run. Ah, someone got me from behind there. Oh, the story. This is a VR game. Oh, so I'm playing a VR game. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I'm playing it badly. So I'm trying to read the story. So it's a VR game that we're playing here. Ah, um, got him. Okay, missed him. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, one last attempt, and then we'll stop this game, and we'll jump into a little bit of conversation. Get the gun. Okay, need to be protected from wherever this next guy is. Get that guy. Shot him. I think part of the trick here is to keep running sideways so their bullet misses you. Okay, got that guy who's been jumping out at me. Shoot that. Oh, no. Get him. Okay, I'm nearly out of bullets. No ammo. Oh, I knew I was out. Okay, throw the gun. Throw it. Oh, he shot the gun. Ah, terrible. Okay. Anywho, so there it is. Super hot, super awesome. Like this game. Hit escape. It's still very thematic with this structure. So, as someone was saying, you're playing as in a VR game. And I think for me, I've enjoyed this a lot. I could play this for another hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, but I won't put you guys through my terrible game playing for that much longer. I was going to do a second game today, but I think because I don't have my buddies with me, my partners with me, I'm going to just go for that one game and then turn that thing off back to me. And then can switch over to discussion Q&A if you guys have any questions about anything at all, game development, about learning, about getting better at stuff, about your games, then shoot them in the chat now if you're watching live. If you're watching later on, then you can always put some comments in the comment section. So looking at the conversation here, is there anything else that you guys noticed about this game from a visual point of view? The main things I've talked about is having a simple style that you yourself can execute without a massive amount of time and effort and work, but still looks good. It has a punch to it. So the strategy there was a white world with simple assets that are very recognizable, like that's a car and that's a train. Very simple, with an interesting, like, kind of texture on them. When I say texture, I mean, the material that's been slapped on it, but also mean something that has a bumps to it, that kind of texture. You pick up a piece of cloth and it has a feel to it, a texture to it. So there's a little bit of that texture to it. And then the enemies, are blood red and they're made of glass and they shatter. So the style is very interesting, but not super requiring a massive amount of time to just build a million assets, if you know what I'm saying. Um, and then yes, polish on top of that. The emissive bloom, as we talked about. The gun's made of glass. Everything's made out of glass. And first person shooter. So I like it. Thumbs up on that game, I reckon. Very interesting to study. And so in general, it's good for you to study these games, get ideas. What can we take out of that into our game? What we can take out is to have a very flat world with punchy elements on top of it. Those elements then really stand out a lot. Those characters stood out. They were clearly the highlight. What also we can take from that game is when you make your game mechanics so simple that you can just throw someone into the game and say, go. And they can see it straight away. There was one character at the start. It was slowly moving, but not a lot was going on. But then when I moved, it said, WASD to move. When I moved, I could see that person shattering. I'm like, oh, he only shattered when I moved. Like, boom, game explained instantly. That's really cool. Okay, let's have a look for some questions here. If you can throw QSTN at the start of it, it'll help me find them a little bit easier. Unity VR course when? Good question. When we can find an instructor who's passionate about Unity VR, then I think we can go for it. If there's enough demand. Last time I looked at this a few months ago, I thought that maybe not many people had VR headsets, but it seems more nowadays have VR headsets, more of us developer type folks. So then there would be a higher interest. But maybe, once again, in chat, Let me know if you do have a VR set, then say, yes, VR. And if you don't, then no VR. Then we can see on our little straw poll thing here how many people do and don't. Bust out the VR headset, Rick. I do have a VR headset just up there. I'm really bad with. I can turn around on the spot, like do a spin, like twice, and then I have to sit down because I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling so good. So the old brain isn't white. I think I have a brain inside my head that's surrounded by a big layer of I don't know, snot or something. And when I turn around, my brain just kind of goes zoomp like that. So if I turn my head, my brain kind of is doing that. And so when I do VR things, it doesn't get too happy. So I would be terrible at teaching a VR course, I think. It's like, okay, let's test out to see if our game works. Okay, the point of our game is just to stand still. You don't do anything. You just stand still. All you do is move your eyes and not your head. That's our VR game. That's, I think, how I would have to do it. Okay, Den of Wolves. Wolfie, g'day. Question, I'm prototyping some ghost hunting mechanics seen in games like Plasmophobia, Ghost Exile, etc. Would you be interested in sponsoring a course for GameDev.tv? Would you be interested in sponsoring a course for GameDev.tv? A course that you teach, Wolfie? Is that what you're asking there? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Come teach a course for us. Um, or if you're asking if we would teach a course on ghost hunting mechanics, maybe. So I'm not exactly sure I understand your question, but if it's to do with more education and learning out there in the world, then yeah, sounds awesome. Will there be an update to Ben's game physics course? That's a great question. It's from Coyote Cartoon. That's a great question. Actually, let me show that on the screen so I can do this so that if Tim Ruswick happens to be watching, he'll be like, oh, look at Rick. He knows how to push the buttons. We have planned a physics update for ages, and yes, it's been planned and in the works and nearly happening, but we had some logistics complications that meant that it didn't quite happen, and it nearly happened, didn't quite happen, but it's back on the might happen list. And this is the sort of thing that if you come across Gary Petty in any of your travels, Gary is coordinating getting the physics course created. Gary created most of the maths course, and you've probably seen him in some of the Unity courses as well. So, knock on Gary's door. Hey, Gary, when's the physics course getting done? Like, let's get some physics course action. So, yes, there are plans to do that. Okay. Thanks for that question. Oh, Gary's in the chat at the moment. So I'm scrolling through the chat. So if you guys are having dialogue down below in the chat, apologies if I'm missing. I'm just going through sequentially here and going through looking for questions. The animations in Superhot is also simple. Yeah, we didn't talk about animations much, did we? And that's because when the characters are moving in slow motion, you don't really need to have them look amazing. And when they're kind of virtual characters as well, you don't need to have them look really super fluid. So there's an abstraction. I learned this really early on in my game development career. If you try to make something look like it actually looks in real life, your player's going to be incredibly critical if it doesn't. So if you're like, I'm going to do a really nice, run and jump, but if it looks kind of a bit kind of wacky or the feet don't line up properly, then people are like, this is no good. But if you deliberately make it look stylized or cartoony or exaggerated or, robotic, people aren't going to look at it and say, that's not how a person runs. They're just going to say, oh, that's interesting. So I think we didn't study the animation of the characters too much in this, but the Ian is saying that they look like mannequins. So that's interesting. If you're like, you know what, let's have the characters look like just sort of mannequins or robots or something, then you can just get in there and like animate an arm up, arm down, and you're like, they run like that because they're robots. Get over it. I think people are very forgiving of that conversation. Okay. Completely ignored the tutorial. You're a true streamer now, Rick. Haha, well, it's my dream come true to do streaming. That sounded really sarcastic, but I say it like that because I don't think I'm very good at it. In terms of trying to play the game and watch the comments and do some things, streamers have some skills that I don't have. Very cool. Okay. Let's see. No VR. Oh, yeah. Everyone's answering the question I had before. VR, yes, no, VR. Question from Fresh Apples. This is a great one. Is C# hard to learn? Now, let's have the whole conversation about learning programming. Okay, it's a continuum. This is my thoughts on this. So when you first start, you don't know anything. And in 10 years' time, you're going to know a lot of things. And through this process, this 0 to 10 years, you're going to have times where you really advance a lot and times where you kind of go slow and you don't feel like you're getting any better. But every day that you're working on studying, improving, practicing is going along that continuum from, from 0 to however long it takes to get to the point where you say, I'm now great at this. Some people can do that in 3 months. Some people can do that in 3 years. Some people longer. And I think it's the consistency of getting in there and giving it a try that's critical and important. So is it hard to learn? No, the process is very straightforward to learn C sharp. Get one of our courses, go through the course, listen, do all the challenges, do a little bit of exploration on your own. So in other words, we can implement, say we're implementing a first-person shooter. You're like, you know what? Instead of the enemies doing this, I'm going to try to figure out how to make the enemies do that. Or instead of just shooting one bullet, I'm going to shoot 10 bullets. Or I'm going to make this a machine gun. So you get there and you do your own sort of exploration. That forces you to get into the code and figure out, how do I do this? How do I improve it? How do I make it better? Why does this not speak to that? How do I do? So you've got to push yourself beyond that. And so after going through one of our beginner courses, you'll know some C sharp. You'll be able to make some things. You'll be able to build your own projects. You'll be able to enter game jams. And then the process of getting to the point where you can think up an idea from scratch and then say, I'm just going to jump in and create that idea from scratch. Then you can start building upon that and doing some intermediate content, doing your own study, jumping on YouTube, etc. So is it hard to learn? It takes time is my answer to that. It's not hard to learn. It just takes time, like with anything. And, it's a little bit cheesy, but if it's really important to you, then the important things in your life are much, much easier to learn than something you're not interested in at all. So if one of your parents says, you've got to go learn C sharp, you're like, come on, I don't want to do that. And it'll be really difficult to learn. If you're like, I really want to learn C sharp so I can start making my own games, that'd be awesome. Then it's going to be a lot easier to learn. Okay, no VR, yes VR, yes VR. Bought Quest 2 headset today. Oh, that's good timing, isn't it? For Prime Day. Is today Prime Day? Can't say today. Today Prime Day. Yes, please, VR course. VR requires high-end hardware. Yes, it does. Okay. Cool. Here we've got a question. Oh, okay, cool. This might be similar to what I just was talking about. So from Trust, good name. How do I get more knowledgeable in Unity? Is it just doing pure C sharp classes or trying to make games in Unity? How do I get more knowledgeable in Unity? There's phases. So phase one, you just need to have someone show you and walk you through the fundamentals. So this is where I believe in our courses for this, because we give you that structure of, okay, don't get distracted by the million things out there on YouTube. It's all free, but it's of different pace and different quality and different ideals. Here we go. We'll just guide you through. The first thing you need to know how to do is this. And the second thing you need to know is and then we'll do. So, that's the process at the start. And then you'll get to the point where you absolutely have to sit down and struggle with your own game or your own game moment or your own problem. You have to struggle with that. And I recommend doing a struggle that's not, I'm going to build my dream game. You're not ready for that yet. Struggle with, okay, we made a little platformer in the course. I'm going to make the platformer, but I'm going to do it where, the world explodes. Oh, how do I even do that? I need to figure out some of this explodey thing. I need to trigger a different whatever. Okay, and so you get in there and you wrestle with that one particular challenge, and you make this platformer game that someone showed you how to make into something that's a totally different, amazing game by just adding one or two additional mechanics to it. And that shouldn't take you months and months and months. That should be something that would take you days or maybe weeks if you wanted to add a lot of flavor to it. So that's how I think you can get more knowledgeable, because you don't have the answer given right to you. You need to get in there and kind of stare at your own code for a while and say, oh, okay, I know how to trigger this to happen. And I know I've got an asset here that is having many different pieces. And I know that there's a function that has force that makes things push apart. But how do I plug all these pieces together? I'll go look at some forums, I'll ask some questions, jump on the GameDev.tv Discord, and hey, has anyone done this before? Get into the Unity documents. So that process of digging around, trying to solve this one problem that you've got, you'll get a massive amount of knowledge and information from that. Because if you've got any aspect that you don't quite understand, where it's talking about, okay, you need to do such and such with namespaces, and you're thinking, you know what, I kind of need to just understand namespaces a little bit more because I don't know if I know it quite well how to do that. Or if something's talking about, oh, we need to use a different programming pattern. So the paradigm that they're talking about, oh, here's how you do it. You would need to set up an event. You're like, oh, I haven't quite done events, so you need to get in there and understand events. So so your question is it by doing classes or making games? I would say it's by adding features or adding details to a game you've already made from a course. That would be the next thing. And then after that, it's enter a game jam. That's the next best thing to improve your knowledge. There's a lot you'll get out of that. So hopefully that flow makes sense, but it's a hybrid of all the things. Doing classes, making games, game jams, adding features. So long as you're doing something every day, you'll get better. Okay. Okay. Course on shaders. Question from Hacker. I'm not sure exactly, Wolfie, what you mean by this. From Heckett. Maybe I missed a question from Heckett somewhere. A course on shaders, HLSL, shader graph, etc. Shaders would be cool as well. Yeah, that would be really neat. It's yes, noted. We'd love to do a course on shaders. Here's Gary Petty hiding. So just in case you wanted to know what he looks like or what his name is or where he is, there he is. I'm not going to highlight Gary because he's obviously trying to hide from everyone knocking on the door and saying we'd like a physics course. So I will not point Gary out. Actually, that's just what I did, wasn't it? Mr. Beto. Hi, Rick. Hello, Mr. Beto. Okay, let's keep looking for some questions here. What are ways to look for really good art talent? So that sounds like you're wanting to have someone work with you on your game. It's really, the question of finding people to work with is really difficult. There's part of it is the conversation. If you're looking to team up with someone, hey, let's you and make a game together, that's cool. Then it helps if you know that person already. It helps if you're in a similar community together and you chat and you see that hey, you kind of have similar ideas to me. That's really cool. It helps if you say, hey, let's do a game jam together. Then you can practice working on something from a game jam point of view. And get to see if you work well together. I think that's cool. If you're looking to hire someone, then you can look at Upwork. You can look at Fiverr is a little bit different. It's a bit more like I'll do a thing, but I'm not joining your team. Upwork can be a little bit more. I'm joining your team. If you're on LinkedIn and you have a decent sort of network on LinkedIn, if you don't, you can start connecting with people on LinkedIn and then you put the word out, I'm looking for something. And then just other job boards, maybe if you're affiliated with a local school or if there's any universities around where you are, or you can contact places. So look for art schools and you can say to art schools, hey, do you have any graduates that are really cool that want to work on a game that I'm working on? Here's my budget. So if you're looking to pay people, it's a certain conversation. If you're not looking to pay people, it's a different conversation. Paying people, it's like, here's the money, come work for me, and people will say yes or no. I don't have any money. Then you need to have some sort of relationship with them so that they're interested in working on what you're up to. So not quite sure if that answered your question well, but that was hopefully gave you a bit of ammunition there. Okay. Here we go. This looks like a bigger question from Troy. With the increasing popularity of sandbox, Oasis-style games like Fortnite, Roblox, Metaverse, etc., where do you see demand for these small indie titles 5 years from now? Okay, the thing is, there's a lot of segments of players in the game community, and I often get a little bit annoyed when people put all games into a category together. So someone's talking about, oh, my son is addicted to Fortnite, games are bad. Or they're talking about, these free-to-play mobile games, they're so dumb, you don't do anything, games are bad. like there's those games. There's also, the indie games that really make you think. There's games like chess that, they've been around forever that make you think. There's multiplayer games where a lot of friends get together and have a good fun time. There's games where, you're trying to solve a puzzle. Games that are story based, that instead of going and watching Netflix for going through a series, instead of watching Westworld for a number of series and sitting there on my butt doing that, I'm going to play Red Dead Redemption, which is a Wild Westy kind of thing where I'm running around taking on quests and going through stories. So it's so diverse that I think in the future there's going to continue to be that diversity. There's going to be people like me who love playing small, fun indie games. And for me, I'm a lot less interested. Using Red Dead Redemption as an example, I started giving that a shot, playing it, and it just kind of got too big. It didn't have the meaning for me, and it seemed formulaic. And it's a great game, amazing game. But for me, where I'm at with my game playing, I'm looking for something that I haven't seen before. I'm looking for something that makes me think, like Super Hot that we're looking at just before. I'm like, oh, what do I do here? I need to figure it out. But if I jump into any of those large worlds, heavily story-based games, I know what to expect. It's just going to be the different story, the different flavor, and some of those will click with me and some of those won't. So I think there's always going to be demand for small indie games. What it means is you're going to have to continue to be innovative in terms of how it's special. It doesn't have to be different per se. You can be joining together a couple of things that people have seen before, but it just needs to be special. It needs to create an experience. And my feeling is, if you look at these types of quirky indie games, I think that's how the whole game industry started, with quirky little indie games. Playing on your Atari, it wasn't Red Dead Redemption. It was like, run around and bip, 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 shoot that guy, and oh, there's another guy. So I think that it's going to stick around. There's still going to be demand for these titles in 5 years' time. Is my feeling on that. The audience playing games is expanding. People who have access to the internet is expanding. People who have technology that can handle these games is expanding. So there's going to be a lot more people, a lot more different types of games, and definitely a place for indie games, is my feeling. Even if Roblox is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and taking over the world, that's cool. There's a certain audience that's into Roblox. I'm not a Roblox player. It's for me, it's for younger kids, which is cool. The younger kids are going to be interested in that, but there's going to be those folks who want indie games. Okay, so I'm rambling now, but hopefully that makes a bit of a point. Okay, let's cruise down, see if we've got any other questions. Once again, I'm just going through chronologically. Apologies if you're down the bottom of the chat being like, Rick, stop talking about nonsense. Okay, haven't read this one, but we'll throw it on the screen. Primordial Egg. Any courses for jobs task handling? So for the likes of colony manager games where tasks are not directly assigned, but go to a list and assigned to NPC based on set of rules parameters. So from what you're describing there, I don't think we've got a course that directly is a colony manager game, although it sounds really cool. It sounds like something we should put on our request list. Maybe that's something we can ask Code Monkey to help us out with, because I think he's done a little bit of that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure what we would have at the moment. I think our RPG series is our most advanced and detailed, and from a programmer point of view, is something that's going to set you up with a lot of the skill set for how to use more advanced programming patterns. So our RPG series is probably the closest, but it's not a colony sim manager type game. So I don't think I answered that question very well, but hopefully it gives you something to move forward on. Another question here from Dunchmaster. What is the hardest part of trying to make a multiplayer game in Unity? I haven't... Did I miss something on here? I haven't... No, it's just I haven't... haven't... And then it's follow-up. It's a two-parter. Taken the multiplayer course yet. So the original question is, what is the hardest part of trying to make a multiplayer game in Unity? I mean, multiplayer is difficult. Multiplayer is way more difficult than single player, because single player, you need to make the game mechanics, run and shoot and whatever. Then multiplayer is a whole bunch on top of that. So first of all, getting your head around whatever particular technology you use for multiplayer, that's the hard bit. So the course that we have out there at the moment that Nathan created is using Mirror as the framework. And Mirror is still great. It's still very relevant. There's been a lot of updates to Mirror since we created the course. So in the course, you have to do a little bit of, okay, in the course, we say it like this, but Mirror has gone and updated a little bit. So there's a little bit of, backwards compatibility that you need to do yourself in the course. But you'll learn a lot of those fundamentals on the server as the authority. So in other words, the client, so what you've got on your computer, on your desktop, is doing some stuff, and then it has to have a conversation to a computer somewhere else, the server, and the server says, okay, yes, you can do that, or you did this first, they did that second, so it's the one who's making those decisions. The reason you do that is so that people have a consistent experience, and also so people can't cheat as easily. If the multiplayer game was handled in the client, so in other words, on your computer, you could just get there and be like, okay, let me pretend that I did 1,000 of these things. And the server's like, oh, you did 1,000, good for you. But if it's the other way around, if it's the server saying, I'll decide how many you did, thanks very much, and you're like, I did 1,000, and the server can be like, I don't think you did 1,000. Get back in your box. And we are looking to create another multiplayer course as the Unity, like the inbuilt Unity multiplayer system gets ready and released and finalized and fixed and bug free, then we're going to dive into that as well. If you guys are interested in us doing a multiplayer course, then absolutely. Okay, I'm going to skip over the C or C++ question because that's a tricky one. That'll take me down a rabbit hole. C# or C++ for game coding. Well, okay, let me answer that one. Let's have a look at that one. C# or C++ for game coding. Okay, if you're using Unity, I think probably C#. If you're using Unreal, probably C++. And then the question is, well, Unity or Unreal? That's totally up to you. Take our Unity course for a week and get a feel for it. Take our Unreal course for a week, get a feel for it. And at the end of those 2 weeks, decide which one you kind of feel a better relationship with and then go for it. It doesn't really matter. C#, C++, doesn't matter. And the question is, well, what if I'm not using an engine? Well, then you're crazy and you're a rebel and you're living on the edge. And I would say, please use an engine until you get to the point where you've used an engine for a couple of years. Then you can not use an engine. Okay. So ethical hacking. C or C++ for ethical hacking. I'm not sure on that one. Sorry. So from Cleophas TV, I want to deep dive more into visuals. What was the other game you wanted to show? That's a secret. I will show you next time. I hadn't decided on exactly which one it was going to be, but if you're interested in this, deep dive format, and particularly when we talk about the mechanics and the visuals, then we can, next week, we can do some more of that. I think that would be really cool. I was really hoping Grant would be here today to join me because he has a lot more knowledge about art creation. So he was going to help me talk through the visuals, but he went and decided to get sick at the last minute, unfortunately. So why Unity? You guys today, you're being naughty, aren't you? There's a whole bunch of Unity, Unreal, C#, C++ questions that we haven't had for a while. This is awesome. Why Unity? I think because it's easy to get in there and just start figuring out and learning. There's lots of great documentation, lots of great courses, lots of great YouTube videos. So there's a lot of support. You can get a good start on it. I think it's very important. Okay, but let's see if we can find any questions. I'm just going to, I don't know, I'll keep going through chronologically and we'll give it another 5 minutes or so. It looks like I'm getting a few questions repeating. Cover more advanced topics. This is a two-parter. Oh, goodness. Do I do it? Do I do it, everyone? Okay, I'll do it. It's a two-parter. It's from Trust. So you got to trust a dude whose name's Trust or a lady whose name's Trust. Hey, Rick, this is a two-parter because YouTube doesn't let me write enough in one message. Sorry about that. My question is, I feel a pretty good idea for a game that I would need to need funding for it. But okay. There we go. Worried about exposing the idea because I feel like a bigger company could replicate it easily and pay for ads. How would I be able to get funds without showing my game? Such a good question. I love it. Okay, here is my opinion on this. People do not steal ideas. They steal success. What that means is if you've got an idea, okay, what you do is you run around and you shoot, but everything stands still until you move again. And when you move, the game speeds up. Oh, it's going to be so great. If you get out there and tell people about that, most people are going to be like, I don't know, sounds okay, cool, good. Maybe someone would think, I should steal that. It sounds amazing. I'm going to steal that after I finish doing these other 5 things I'm working on. But the vast majority of people, nearly everyone, is going to look at that or hear your idea and say, sounds cool. I look forward to having a look at it, but I've got other stuff I want to do. And then when you launch it and it does well and you have success and you've got, so many Steam wish lists and you've, $1 million in sales, everyone's going to be like, that's the game we've got to go copy. And that's when they come and steal your game after you have success. So, you have to be a little bit courageous when you have an idea and you're out there pitching your idea. You have to share it. You have to share it with everyone. You have to share it generously because you need feedback on it. And I went through this process when I first started my indie game studio. I had an idea. I thought it was amazing. There was someone, another company in town that did sort of a similar thing. So I didn't want them stealing any of my good ideas. Like, they're definitely going to take what I'm doing here. And so I was asking people to sign NDAs when I was talking about funding, and I was keeping all the cards close to the chest so someone wouldn't steal it. And it was such a rookie mistake. Like, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I'd got a prototype very quickly and just showed everyone, what do you think? How do I make it better? How do I improve it? Because, like I say, people don't steal ideas. So your idea might be, revolutionary, and people hear it and like, oh, never thought of that. That's so good. We're going to do that right now. But chances are it's just an idea that until you implement it, it doesn't really mean much. The value comes once you've built it and you've shown that it works and you've shown that it's going to be great. So I would say go for it. Tell people about it. Show it in this community. And the hard thing to hear is that maybe your idea is not as amazing as you think it is. And people are like, I don't know, seems fine. I don't know, whatever. And if you get that response, you shouldn't be spending, years and tons of money making it. So you've got to get that feedback early. And maybe when you tell people, they're like, oh my God, that's amazing, please make it, which is great. But you need to find, if your idea isn't that great, you've got to find out before you spend a lot of time and money on it. Hopefully that helps. Thank you for the double-parted question. 2D games still popular? Is it good to start with 2D? You know what? 2D versus 3D, start with what you like more. That's my recommendation. We've got 2 Unity courses, the Unity 2D and Unity 3D. Which one should I do? Well, they're very similar courses. Start with, if you kind of like, 2D is cool, I like it, start with that. 3D is great, I like it, start with that. Not a problem. There's still a bazillion 2D games out there. There's so many 2D games. So 2D games aren't going away anytime soon, I think. Okay, cool. So the questions you guys are doing just epic with questions today. I'm still have so many things to scroll through to get. So I'll try to just smash through these questions as quickly as possible. Sorry, again, if you're saying things down below that I haven't gotten to yet. I'm just trying to go through chronologically. From Mikhail, big fan of your course content. Cool, thanks. Do you think my game will look too generic by using Cinti Studio assets? Okay, so possibly. Here's my thought on that. Using asset pack assets allows you to get your game looking pretty good pretty quickly. And if you get your game looking pretty good pretty quickly and people are playing it, they're like, this game is great, I love it so much. You're like, you know what? I might have a hit on my hands here. Then you can say, how do I advance my art so it doesn't look so... doesn't look like other games. Like, then you can put the time and effort and love into it because you know it's going to be a game that's going to do pretty well. If you're very new to making games, then don't worry about it because your goal here is to go through that whole flow of making a game and to understand it and to figure out how to improve, etc. And using art asset packs allows you to do that a lot more quickly. Now, that's one bucket of conversation. The other bucket of conversation is if you use your Cinti assets and you think it looks a bit generic, then do modifications to those assets to have it look not as generic. Do something with the lighting, do something with the texturing. You can get in there and change the models a little bit, make their heads really big, make their legs really long, make it so instead of heads they have, I don't know, stickers on their faces, or that they all have capes or something, whatever it is, that you can get in there and do some modifications so that if someone was to really scrutinize it, they might be like, hang on a minute, these are Cinti assets, but they're not going to know just by playing the game regularly. And also the important thing to remember is that the vast majority of game players aren't game developers, so they don't know what a Cinti asset is. They've got no idea. They're like, oh, this is a low poly game. I like low poly games. Oh, this looks a little bit like Roblox, but better, or it looks a bit Minecrafty. Like they don't have the sophistication, and they're not going to say, oh, this looks like 10 other games I've played already. So don't stress about using asset packs. I think asset packs are amazing and wonderful. And at some point in your game development career, you might move beyond using asset packs. But until you're ready to do that, or have the skills, or have the success, or have the team, don't worry about it. I think using Cinti assets is fantastic. Oops, I actually clicked another button there. Okay, I said there'd be another 5 minutes, but there's a million questions, so I'm going to really try to smash through these questions, see if I can get through as many as possible. Thank you for all the wonderful questions today. You guys are helping me out, given that I don't have my good buddy Tim with me today. He's off foraging through the rainforest in downtown Florida. It's not actually what he's doing, but I thought that sounded more interesting than telling you the truth of where he actually is. Is there a possibility of a course on the Steamworks API implemented in Unity? Okay, this is the high level answer to that is Steam and a lot of these platforms don't allow you to publicly show information. Like you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to get there and record content or show content. It's an intellectual property sharing type thing. So it's very difficult for us to do a how to get your game on Steam course. It's very difficult to do that. We have to be careful because they just don't let you. And we do have in our Unity multiplayer course, we do use Steam, the Steam API, to get a multiplayer game working, and it's working on Steam through Steam. So yes, we do it in that course, but it's not a course on, all things you need to know about Steam, Steamworks, etc. API. Hopefully that answers that question. Oh, cool. Thanks for the... So from Dunch, I'm doing the RPG course right now, 10 out of 10. Great, thank you, Sam. And I put a lot of love into that course. And before that, Ben as well. We started the RPG course so long ago. We've remastered it a couple of times. It was originally kickstarted like 6 years ago. Took us a while to get through it. A little bit of blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, more of a businessy, teamy type question. Do you guys want me to keep going and keep answering questions? I'll keep going for a bit longer if you want to. So let me know. Just yes, more questions and answers, please, if you want me to keep going, which I'm happy to do. After finishing courses on a game engine, what would be the best course of action? Applying to join a team of developers in a business or small teams, or work on small projects by yourself? Okay, I love this question. The ultimate answer is, what do you want to do longer term? In 5 or 10 years' time, would you rather be a senior producer, a lead programmer, a game director in a studio, in someone else's studio? Or would you rather have your own indie studio where you've got a team of, 5 or 10 or 20 people that are making amazing games, or 100 people? So if you look at those two and say, where do you want to get to? I would say that then is the best path to get into now. You don't need to say, well, I need to work in a studio in order to make my own games. You don't have to do that. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do because you'll learn some things, but you'll learn some things if you get out there and make your own games in your own studio anyway. So I think it's more of a direct path. If you want to be senior in a game studio, then start by being junior in a game studio. If you want to be making great games as an indie game developer, start by making average games as an indie game developer and take that path. Now, there's one layer on top of that. Well, there's two extra layers on top of that. One is you might say, well, I'd like to get a job, but I'm not quite good enough yet, or the opportunities aren't happening. Cool. Well, then make your own games as a way to prove to that studio that you can do it. So that could be a mechanism of, how to increase your skills. Because game studios saying, well, you need experience before we'll give you a job. How do I get experience? Well, you go make your own games yourself, and that can get you the job. That's, I think, one important part of it. The other important part of it is you might not have a lot of money to live on, and you might say, well, I just can't survive for 2 years making indie games that don't make any money. It's like, well, maybe you've got to go get a job in order to do that. So there's no best path. It's just based upon your circumstances and about your long-term interest, I believe. Okay. It's always risky putting questions that I haven't read, but I'm going to trust you guys because you're all awesome. Ravanil, this may be a more specific question. Cool, but is there any materials you can create or recommend for a 2.5D game development? Examples include Octopath Traveler, Paper Mario, etc. Any materials you can create? Any materials, I guess. If I was making a 2.5 game, I'd probably use Unity or Unreal, for sure. And then I would make a 3D game with a fixed camera that's just in a particular position. And then the materials you apply are just materials you'd apply to a 3D object. Now, if you wanted to make more of a true 2D isometric game where, it's 2D sprites that look like they're 3D, then, that's illustrating or drawing those assets however you can. But in terms of materials you can create or recommend, not really, because you could use any materials. So it's a terrible answer, my apologies, but basically 3D models with anything on top of them that look nifty in terms of materials. Okay, it's probably my worst answer so far. Sorry about that. Will there ever be an Unreal class on advanced branching dialogue systems? It can be pretty complex. Thanks for that, Lottie. Maybe. I would really love for us to make an Unreal RPG. I'm not going to promise anything at all because the Unity RPG was a slog to get that done. But I was trying it. So Stephen Ulibarri, who teaches a lot of our Unreal content, or has taught a lot of our Unreal content, and the C++ Fundamentals course, he might be interested in doing an Unreal RPG. So if you guys, go to his YouTube channel and, find where he's hanging out, like, oh, Stephen, Unreal RPG, please, then he might. You never know. He might be interested in doing that, which would be really cool. Okay, cool. Oh, this is an interesting question. Will you update your cinematic course for Unreal 5? Lottie, I'm guessing you're interested in Unreal stuff. So again, no promises on this, but recently I've been having some conversations with a really cool person who is possibly going to be remastering the Unreal Cinematic course in Unreal 5. So yes, but I've learned my lesson about promising things because we're starting. So yes, we're starting on it, but that doesn't guarantee that it'll get finished and be available, but we're definitely looking into that. So which is pretty cool. Might be one of the folks that we had as a guest on our live cast not too long ago. Multiplayer course. Brian Trotter. Oh, Brian's a bit biased on this. He's like, yes, Unity. G'day, Brian. How you doing? Brian, you probably will see a lot of him in our Unity Q&A and questions and forums and all that kind of stuff. Brian is in there helping folks not get stuck like a champion that he is. But maybe here wanted to say, oh, okay, we better show this one. I'll take a screenshot and show my wife so she knows I actually do some work. Thank you very much for that, for saying I'm a good teacher. I appreciate that. Don't make multiplayer games. Okay, I'm scrolling through here. I know there's a lot of me looking at the side here to try to find some things. Here we go. I haven't read this one, but we'll chuck it up there from Brian, different Brian. Coming from software and web development, I like the security of having automated tests. Any recommended resources for how to create tests in UE4 and run them from a build like in Jenkins? I don't have any. That's not my not something that I've got a lot of knowledge in. Sorry about that, Brian. Interesting you're asking about UE4. I guess you've got a project that's well underway with everything transitioning to UE5. It's cool that you said UE4. So no, I don't know, sorry, about having automated tests, not a skill area of mine, my humble skills. So I think if you've come from web development and from software, you've probably already got more knowledge than I do on that. So sorry, can't help you as well on that one as I'd like to. Okay, so I'll take two more questions. I'll just scroll, look for anything that's looks jumping out. Thanks to everyone for putting the QSTN on your questions, by the way. It's helping me a lot cruising through here. This is not a question, but Lottie's saying, Rick won't be the teacher this time. Probably not. We'll probably get someone who is capable and competent and more knowledgeable about all things Unreal that I am to redo the cinematic course. What was it? Oh, here's an interesting question from Coyote. When will we see Ben again? Ben's out there. He's floating around in the universe. He's currently on a holiday in Florida, foraging through the rainforest, looking for truffles and pine cones. Actually, that's not true. That's Tim that's doing that. So yeah, he's around, but he's more as you know, as our team is bigger and as our business is bigger, there's a lot of the necessities of running a business that mean that those of us who love to be making video content are doing a little bit less making video content because we have more of just the fundamentals of making sure that we run a business. So that's a lot of what Ben does nowadays. Oops. Oh, hang on, Lottie. We're continuing this theme. This has been a bit of a running theme throughout the conversation. It's going to be Yagman X, I bet. Very interested. It may or may not be. I've learnt my lesson about promising things, okay? So, but if you think that would be cool, I encourage you to jump over to Yagman X, or otherwise known as Yasmin. Jump over to her YouTube channel and be like, oh, it'd be really cool if you did a course with GameDev.tv and, you know, maybe something will happen. Oops, what did I click on there? Oh, what's your opinion on Godot with C# versus Unity? You know, we taught a bit of a Godot C# thing. It seems Godot is made for is it Godot script? Not a Godot guy, but you know, for their main language in Godot or Godot, however you want to pronounce it. There's the main one, and they're like, oh, I guess we better do C#, I guess, because some people know C# may be fine. And then you know what we'll do, though? Just as a fun joke, we won't have any documentation, and we'll make it really, you know, tricky to figure out how to do it. So I think if you're using Godot, then I don't know. It's hard to predict where that engine is going to go and how much support they're going to get, you know, with Godot 4, how that's going to go down. But if your question is, should you use that or use Unity? I think it really comes down to your fundamental. If you're very, you know, open source and, you know, free software, then, you know, Godot's great. It's doing a thing it's doing what it's trying to do. If you're after, you know, comprehensive documentation, lots of tutorials, you know, lots of support, hundreds of millions of dollars of development, all that kind of stuff, then, you know, Unity's pretty amazing. And I think Unity, you're not ever going to get to the point where you say, I can't do that genre of game with Unity. You'll be able to do all the genres of games. But Godot, I don't know quite so much if that's, you know, if that's as much of a thing that you can say. Okay. Very, very last question then. Let's see. Last question. There's a whole bunch more questions that's popped up. You guys, what are you doing? So many more questions. Okay, picking one last. Okay, here we go. One last question for you guys before we wrap it up for today. The GMTK Game Jam this weekend. Any recommendations on how to handle scope? Okay, it depends whether you're beginner, intermediate, advanced, etc. If you're advanced, then just go for it. Be crazy. Do something like really push yourself and, you know, put yourself in a difficult position. Yay, all that kind of good stuff. If you're more beginner, my strong recommendation is take a type of game that you've already made, whether it's going through a course or you've made yourself. For example, if you've made a platformer before, then make a platformer and use your knowledge and grab a little bit of your code you've done before to get very quickly to the point where the game works. Okay, I've got some platforms, I've got running, got jumping, there's an enemy. When I touch the enemy, I fall off the edge and die. So get to that point as quickly as you can. So you've actually got a game that works. Then get there and say, how can I make this interesting? How can I make this quirky? So start with a working demo and add to it rather than getting there and saying, what would be cool? Okay, and then trying to figure out how the heck do I make that? That's a much more difficult way to make a game in a limited amount of time. It's much easier to say, here's a platformer. Okay, what if instead of jumping, you crawl and then you do super slides? Oh, that could be fun. Then you spend hours trying to get that to work, and then it works. Oh, this is great. And then boom, your game is made. Rather than starting from scratch and saying, okay, I'm going to make a game where, you push a button and everything goes backwards, and you push a button, everything goes forwards. Oh, I've never done that before. How do I even start? Where do I do this? Then you end up spending 90% of the game jam time just trying to get that damn mechanic working, and then finally, it finally works. Yay, my game looks ugly, and I'm going to just throw a couple of characters in there. So that's how I handle scope, I think, for game jams. Build a thing and then polish. Do one thing in your game and then a ton of polish. That's how you make a great game. Okay, so that is all. That's all I'm going to jump through today. Thanks for joining me. It seems like hours ago that we went through Super Hot, and check that out as a really interesting game from a visual style. Just the reminder of it doesn't need to be complex to make a game look amazing. There's an innovation in simplicity, I think, and also the game mechanic. There's one really cool game mechanic. I'm sure there's more great ones as you play through the game, but there's the one great one. Time moves when you move. Great, amazing. So that's all you need to make an indie success, I think, nowadays. And then lots of great questions from you guys. And as always, it's been lovely having you here. Thank you for helping me out as I'm solo today with just such great chatter in the chat today. It's really helped me out. Next week, we should have Tim back, and we were going to have Grant today join us. Unfortunately, he's sick. We'll get Grant back again real soon, and onwards and upwards. So good luck with your game development, and I will see you guys all really soon, hopefully in one of our courses. So I'll catch you later.